Happy birthday, B-Ted! Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the WGLNA Season 2 Gold League. I'm your host, Christian Toma. To my left is David Williams. Make sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube /WGLNA. And as always, follow us on Twitter @WGLNA, so you guys can stay up to date on what's happening in the community around you. One of the things that is happening is Thursday, we are bringing Quinn in to present us the questions that you have asked, and we will answer them live for you here on the stream. So if you guys want to ask those questions, use #mailbag and tweet those @WGLNA, and we will get those answered for you.
And if for some reason you haven't done it yet, go ahead and check out battleviewer.com. The same Twitch chat you already use, plus easy access to YouTube, Twitter, match listings, match standings. If you've ever been wondering what was the score of that last match, well, it would be there in battleviewer.com, and so would your fantasy league.
That's right, guys. And now as we go into the 8th week of this Season 2 Gold League, the topic of the week is going to be Focus Fire. So what I've done is come up with a little demonstration, a little drawing, if you will. So this, what you guys see here, this is what to do. This is Focus Fire. This is what not to do.
That guy is who you pay respects to.
That's right. That's the guy you press F to pay respects to. So this is kind of what we're talking about for this week. The question of the day is going to be about this. We're going to be focusing out, pointing this out in stream when we see it. Also, kind of a curious thing you're talking about. It's not always a good thing to Focus Fire.
Not always, and that's kind of a tricky discussion.
Yeah.
But they say you got somebody with an autoloader is coming in, and you know he's going to clean up the tank, and you can get started doing damage someplace else. That's just one example, but there's a lot of different ones, and it depends on the terrain. It's kind of a tricky topic to discuss. Honestly.
Well, I can't wait to talk about it, guys. But before we can talk about that, we have to go over what happened on Thursday. The 4 matches then. Up first, we had Eclipse beating Color Wanted 5-2, followed by WG8 beating Aquatic M60s 5-3. Third, Googlybobbers losing to High Voltage 2-5, and finally, close of the night, Noble beating WG7 5-4. Let's go through these one at a time, David. First, Eclipse beating Color Wanted. Started out on to Muravanka, where both teams won an offense and a defense, so tied it up 2-2 there. Then we went on to Ruinberg, where Eclipse just cleaned up, picking up their 3 victories in a row there. Some of the things to remember from that first match.
Eclipse looking very strong on Ruinberg. Usually that's a map that I would say is Color Wanted favor, but Eclipse held him on the line of the Delta Village and brought it home, and it was just overall just a great game to watch.
Absolutely. So congratulations to Eclipse for picking up that victory there. Up next, it was WG8 versus Aquatic M60s. Starting out onto Ruinberg again. Both teams tying it up 2-2, but Master Putin playing beautifully from WG8. Some fantastic plays we can talk about in a second. Then we go on to Steps, where Aquatic did one on offense. WG8 came back and won their 3 in a row there. Clean up that victory. Some of the things you remember from that second match.
Well, Steps was some of the most high-action Steps we've seen so far out of those 2 teams. And Ruinberg was just interesting all around. I feel like Ding could have taken 3 games on that, but it was kind of a tricky situation with Game is Rigged and Putin trying to bring it home. And you can't really fault him for not seeing everything that we can see.
Right.
But
they don't have that bird's eye view.
It was so close to being a perfect moment.
Super fun to watch indeed. Third, we had Googlybobbers losing to High Voltage 2-5. Starting out here on Steps, High Voltage being very aggressive, bringing some fantastic plays we haven't seen before. Googly able to capitalize on one of those to find a victory there. So ended up 3-1. Then going to Pro Rovka, where again Googly found one. High Voltage cleaned it up. Some of the things you remember from that third match.
High Voltage's Steps meta is new.
Super
they got a
fun.
907 out there, an FE 207.
Yeah.
And I really felt like on offense it worked quite well. On defense, they had a kind of a crazy push into the north. And then when Googly moved on to the eastern cap, they flowed back in a difficult to patrol corridor, just poured over and focus fired out as many tanks as they could and got ahead in that DPM per HP relationship.
Yeah, really fun to watch. Can't wait to see kind of how that evolves as this goes on, getting ready for a playoff season. But before that, we had our final match, Noble versus WG7, which is super exciting. Probably the most exciting one to watch of the night for me. Starting out on a Pro Rovka, Noble going up 3-1 there, bringing artillery quite a bit. I think both times on defense there. Then we went on to Himmelsdorf, where WG7 came back, tied it up 3-3. Both teams then 1-1, lost 1. Now it's all tied up 4-4. On to Muravanka for WG7's second time as a tiebreaker on that map, where Noble brought another artillery, ending out the night, found the victory. Some of the things to remember from that fourth one.
Well, let's start with Pro Rovka and that artillery. This whole match was 1 game away from being an WG7 victory. WG7 would have won 5-3 if they had just gotten 1 defense on Pro, which they very likely should have or could have had. So many different chances to reset that they didn't really get there. And Noble allowing them to have that latitude to even get close to that. Because I feel like a team as good as Noble, if they own Pro Rovka the correct way, they could have easily gotten 4 games out of that. Well, maybe not easily. It is WG7, and they are quite good. But just a better strategy, and it would have been a lot closer.
Just, again, it just kind of blows my mind how when you watch through the entire match, you do have to take in consideration every single battle that has happened.
And on Murovanka overall, exactly, because they wouldn't have even ended up on
Yeah,
Murovanka.
yeah, it wouldn't have been there.
07 had a chance to do some breakout plays, carry really hard, probably in the 1390, but it seemed like they were a little bit afraid of the M40, M43, so that was a much better usage of it. It's one very tight corridor. You know those shots are going to be relatively on target as opposed to the gigantic area of Pro where it's, you can't really trust as much.
All right, well, that's what happened on Thursday. Before we get into what's going on tonight, got to remind you guys to go to fantasywgl.com, or if you're on Battlefield right now, which you should be, push that button in the bottom right-hand corner to pull up the fantasy site. You guys will build your team of 7 players. As they play, they'll accumulate points for you guys. Points lead to tons of prizes, such as in-game premium time, in-game gold, and in-game premium tanks like the Height 59 that you can't get anywhere else. So go over there right now and do that. Also reminding you guys, we are partnering with Vulcan this season, so go to Vulcan.com, use the code word World of Tanks for another opportunity for a WGLNA competition. Another thing you can win on Fantasy is you can win a trip to the Vegas finals that are happening on February 27th, guys. So there is still one spot left, and even if you don't win that trip, just come out. It's going to be awesome. We're going to be there. The teams are going to be there. It's going to be a fantastic time, so try to get those tickets as soon as possible. Again, the Vegas finals happening February 27th here for the WGLNA Season 2 Gold League. What you guys are seeing at the bottom of your screen are David and I's picks for tonight. So, David, there has been no roster changes, so walk me through kind of your picks, the process, the thoughts behind it.
Well, first off, I'd like to highlight Brett for Eclipse. He came out with a breakout game. If he puts anywhere close to that again, he's going to be worth a pick. I feel like he really rounds out some of the things that were going on with Eclipse, and he's going to get some very consistent damage. Maybe kind of like the Vetro of their team almost. Canadian Impact, similar deal. He's going to be playing today, so I pick him. It's just always worth it.
How it goes.
Ox and Blue, that was kind of a trickier decision because I wasn't sure whether to go Blue Boys or perhaps Smiley Rage, another new addition that did quite well for Color Wanted. But I feel like High Voltage stands a very good chance of winning this game.
Sure.
And so I'm just going to bank mostly on them. And other than that, of course, 2 and AM60s. And that pretty much rounds out my picks.
For me, I put a couple members, 3 members actually, on the High Voltage and Color Wanted choice. I mean, we can kind of talk about why that is later. I feel like it could be a game that goes a while, and if it does, I'm excited to kind of get some of the points there. I start climbing. Man, I went from, I was in the top 100, and now I'm in 200th place. So I've been just dropping the ball hard here, and Tim in the back, he always kind of brags. He's now in the top
200's a higher
50.
number than 100.
That's true. You know what?
This isn't golf.
I'm totally winning.
I think it is kind of like golf.
Oh. But again, I got to take away from Tim. He always brags about how.
Well, he's our fantasy specialist overall. I mean,
sure,
how can you beat him?
You wanna, you meet that guy and you just want to beat him. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's talk about what's happening for the 4 matches tonight. It's going to be some exciting ones. Up first is going to be Googlybobbers versus Aquatic M60s, followed by Color Wanted versus High Voltage. Third is going to be Yo versus Eclipse. And finally, they close out the night, Noble versus Ping 999. David, out of the 4 matches that we have, which one are you most excited to see? And who do you think is going to take it?
That would be High Voltage versus Color Wanted.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a very important match for High Voltage. This is one step towards guaranteeing they can keep their second place playoff bid or finals bye. And I think while they would make it through playoffs, if they were intact, there's a certain amount of tilt when you go from having a secured position and then not having one that could cause all sorts of stuff. Plus, teams playing up that weren't in the earlier part of the season, they can end up in some of the lower seeds, but your more dangerous opponents. And
like Noble from last season.
Ding, Rival, all these teams, you can't just fall asleep at the wheel here. They will make you earn it. So it's an uncomfortable position for them to be in, but I think they have a good chance of winning this today, as long as their strategies are concrete and they run them with confidence. But if they don't, then Color Wanted can make a mess. And out of kind of a messy gameplay style, Color Wanted's going to win. I mean, they've got such player talent, and it's kind of their comfort zone. All
right, I'm excited to see that one as well. It's going to be fun. Also, Aquatic M60s versus Googly, an important match for Aquatic M60s in that sense that you can make it into the playoffs.
They need to get the playoffs too.
So they need to get that victory, guys. There's a lot riding on the line because we only have 3 more show days before the playoffs. So all these teams are going to be playing to the best of their abilities. Let us know right now in chat who you think is going to win tonight, which one you're most excited to see as we close out our pregame show. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Do not go anywhere. Match number 1 is coming right up. So much damage going out onto him. On no one, though.
Going big.
Taking a lot of damage in the IS-7. The 2-6 is like, you think I'm a bad IS-7? Here, I'm going to take down an IS-7 there.
Happening.
Full crows, finding kills. Andy Panzo now is kind of caught out. He should be going down here any moment now. 307 going back in. Executive actually takes a shot over on the other side. Flak picks up Andy Pans. Full crows, though, finds Akumi. And now Simple Tankers is only down to 5 tanks. Oh, and a lot of damage going on to Commander J there. From the back, one more shot, and it's going to be more going down. Fix Reloaded might have that. He does. He takes him down in that T-22. And that is the first tank fallen for Eclipse, but Color has been bleeding HP left and right. Tiger takes on Fixer. Drop Cab takes down Aggressor. And that is now a 2-for-1 exchange in favor of Eclipse. Tiger's doing a fantastic job lighting people up in that 50B as Brett takes down Dr. Halo. Druck finds Stealth. Master of People finds Magenta Panda. And it looks like Eclipse is going to take this victory. It's going to be their 5th, and they're going to find... trying to come back. They need to tie it up right now, or it is all over for them. Fosta barely holding on there with just 65 points of HP. Akula finds Warbander. Germ takes down Makos. 2 tanks going down for 07. Noble trying to come back, and that's a 3rd. Akula takes down Vetro as well. Milton will be going down to ZXFT. So much damage, so many shots going out here. 730, over 1,100 into Commodore, but he finds Germ. ZXFT finds Akula. 07 is coming.
Where did Wallhacks go? Around a rock to guarantee he can't even spot where Vetro is. Up, but now he does. He backs up. Let's see if he's interested in getting into this fight at all. And Wallhacks no longer cares about anonymity, as distracting Vetro is actually a good thing, because here comes Ox right in from behind, and a nice wombo combo
Just
perfectly
enough
played
time.
from Wallhacks and Ox.
Wow. Oh, this could be high voltage. This could be 07. I'm not comfortable to call it yet.
It's on Wallhacks to come in and get the reset at the right time. Tiger Thief cannot overplay. He's the one that has to stay alive. He can shop for maybe 1 shot after people turn for Wally, but Wally has to suicide scout. I'm not sure the timing is there.
He got the reset.
8 seconds left. Wally's got his own 7
He's taking
seconds.
out a tank.
He picks up Synergy 3K, and it looks like High Voltage might stay alive.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the WGLNA Season 2 Gold League. I'm your host, Christian Toma. To my left, David Williams. Make sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube, /WGLNA. If you're not watching this on battleviewer.com, go over there right now and check it out. And finally, follow us on Twitter @WGLNA so you guys can stay up to date on what's happening in the community around you. Also, one of the things that is happening in the community is Quinn is going to be here Thursday to ask us the questions that you have asked us by using #mailbag, and then we're going to answer them for you live. So go ahead and ask us those questions at Twitter, to Twitter @WGLNA, and we'll get those answered for you guys as quickly as possible on Thursday. I'm very excited to kind of hear what you guys have to ask us. Also, you can answer the question of the day,
which is, when is focus fire important?
I thought a lot about this, David. I thought a lot about this. Focus fire is important on Cliff in the center when you're battling.
Definitely.
Woo!
And that's one of the more important parts. But that's actually a good example of sometimes it's not.
When it's not.
If there are people trying to come over the side onto you, and more important to prevent them from getting the tanks to focus fire on you than it is for you to focus fire because you already have enough DPM to win that area,
Sure.
then you want to focus your shots on tracking and holding them.
Love it.
So there's a lot of different situations here. So you can answer that in either situation, when might you not, or when you will.
All right, guys, so let us know when you think it's important to focus fire as we pull up the standings here as we're starting our 8th week. Again, up top, Simp with 23 points, followed closely by High Voltage with 22. Then Noble, Eclipse, Color Wanted going down from their rival 07 and WGLNA in those top 8 positions. Again, those are the guys who are the top 2 are guaranteed into the finals, and then spots 3 through 8 are the ones who are going to be going guaranteed into the playoffs. So that's kind of where you guys should be keeping your eye on there. And some of the teams that have that, or one of the teams tonight that has that really good potential of making it is Aquatic M60s, and they are up first, going up against Googlybobbers. And the face-off is ready. On the side of Googly, we have Viral. On the side of Aquatic M60s, we have Mr. Man. Gentlemen, welcome to the face-off. Viral, going to go ahead and start out with you guys. Now, on your guys' a battle against High Voltage last Thursday, how do you guys feel as a team? How do you feel that your performance went?
I feel like some rounds we didn't perform at all. Some other rounds we actually put up a really good fight and probably put up a better fight than what some people noticed. And we're really looking to take some of that into the matches tonight.
Awesome. Yeah, it was really fun to see you guys kind of go toe-to-toe against that Topper team.
I noticed Viral. I noticed. Okay.
Hey, David's
so
there for you.
who is the guy that calls for focus fire on your team, or is it multiple people? How does that work?
It would have to be a mix between myself, Urtai, or Zone Delta right now. They're the biggest ones for calling a focus fire target.
Alrighty.
All right, we'll see how that goes on tonight. Mr. Man, now over to you. Like we were kind of talking about in the pregame show, if you guys win this victory, you guys are looking good to make it into the playoffs. I mean, you're definitely a lot better if you didn't win this tonight. So my question is, as a team and being that close, using that motivation, I've never been in this situation before. Does that kind of rally you guys more? Does that not affect you guys at all? Like, oh, we're so close, guys, or is it just kind of like, oh, hey, another game and let's go from here?
It definitely rallies us more, makes us definitely. It puts more pressure on us to win because we know we need to get a couple wins to be able to make it to the playoffs. So.
All right. Well, just my word of advice: don't go into tilt territory. All right. That's just my word of advice.
Yeah, that's what we try to avoid the most.
Good. Yeah, good.
Well, Mr. Man, who is it that calls for focus fire on your team, or similar? Is it multiple people?
It's multiple people. It depends on like who's in the main fight and stuff. But usually it's me, Felix, or Morphic.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much. Before we get into the battle, gentlemen, Viral, is there anything you'd like to say to Mr. Man before we get started?
Good luck, have fun, and you guys need to win tonight in order to keep your playoff dreams alive. We, I don't want to say we might try and crush them, but who knows?
All right, Mr. Man, your response.
Good luck, have fun, and we won't let that happen.
All right, gentlemen, best of luck to both of you, and we'll see you. We'll see you in the battle. I love that. See, that was
Finally got some.
I was gonna say
some combative talk.
Exactly,
going
the
on.
first time in a face-off. Love it. Keep it going, guys.
Alrighty, so there you have it. There are the two rosters from both of those teams. Players to look out for Googlybobbers. It's kind of a hard list. They got a couple more people in. We'll try and highlight that during the actual match. But here is the match screen from FantasyWGL.com. Top score for Googlybobbers is Viral, and for AM60s, still Mr. Man holding that slot down.
Killing it.
Both teams prefer to play steps. Be interesting to see if that happens tonight. One team prefers the 140, and the other the T22.
Okay, so if you were on steps, what would you rather be, a 140 or a T22?
I think I'd almost always rather be a T22, but the 140 is definitely not a bad tank for that map at all.
All right. Well, and I like what you said, the idea of, like, they both like steps, so we might see it, but there's also that kind of counter thought, which is, like, they both like steps, so let's ban it out.
Realistically, if I were doing what I used to do, I'd probably end up putting myself in whatever tank I felt was one of the more difficult ones to play, or the one that has to make the most decisions. I'm not sure that's the T22 right now.
Oh.
The T22, I mean, it's tricky to play if you want to really bounce as much as possible, but it seems like it has more resilience to be able to push, so perhaps I'd leave that to some other players and take something more fragile. It's what I always did in the past.
Okay. Now, again, it can be in that situation if you're going up against, as Googlybobbers, as Aquatic M60s, a team that you see likes to play the map that you guys like to play a lot. Would you be confident to take it to them and be like, hey, we're just going to outplay them on it, or would you ban it out to be safe?
If there's that much footage of it lying around, it depends. If we watch that team and their steps or whatever map it was just nowhere near ours, or we saw some easy things that they hadn't learned yet, because it was very different back then, we would just take it because we knew it was an easy win.
All right, well, we'll see if that's happening tonight. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, as our first match is about to get underway, it's Googlybobbers versus Aquatic. Aquatic starting out on defense, Googly on offense. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for tanks.
For Googlybobbers, we have two 113s, a 50B, two Object 140s, a T22, and a T54 lightweight. For Aquatic M60s, still no M60s. A 50B, a 215.
What?
Two E5s, a T22, a Conqueror, and an Object 430 version 2. Let's hope the Ural loads in here. And it looks like he does just in time, so I believe this match is still going to be on schedule.
Whew, that would have been close. Now, Aquatic M60s, again on Ruinberg. This is where we saw them against Ding. Again, tying it up here. So we've seen them play on Ruinberg. Seen kind of what they do. Looking, kind of remembering back, David, would you particularly praise them for anything they've done on this map, or just pretty standard stuff for Aquatic?
It's hard for me to really look back at anybody's Ruinberg play right now. and consider it exceptionally praiseworthy because a lot of it is very, very similar. It's an old map. People have played it in Clan Wars since pretty much forever.
Gotcha.
People have played it in WGLNA since forever, since as long as it's existed. So even though there has been a format change more than once, it hasn't changed all that much. The zones of conflict
map
are still the most important areas. You've got the Delta Village and the spawn zone, and it looks like
we got a
are, in
DC.
fact, going to take a DC here.
So we're going to now, going back to the garage, getting the people loaded in there. Who was that in the beginning you were worried about?
That was Ural.
Ural. So maybe we're having some problems with that. Give those players the time to get that. We want to make sure both these teams have equal opportunity, equal players. Playing a 7-on-6 is never fun. And again, a big game for Aquatic M60s. If they do not win tonight, I mean, do you think, looking at what's been happening so far in the standings, that it would be possible for them to make the playoffs?
Aquatic M60s?
Yeah.
I think that puts them in a territory where other people have to lose. But it's hard for me to keep track of that like 12 by 12 field of variables.
Sure. Yeah, I've seen your spreadsheet. It's just
yeah. So I think
impressive.
well, what I do know is that they are very, very, very likely to make it if they win tonight.
cool.
So that's probably the most important part for them.
So now kind of what Mr. Man was kind of piggybacking on what he said here. You know, it puts a lot more pressure on him as a captain, as the team, because they know that they have to win, right? This is their time. Like, guys, we really need to do this. In your experience, when you've been in those positions, is that more of a encouraging guys, like rallying time, and there's like more camaraderie, and like if people mess up, it's more, or is it more of like this is stressful?
That totally depends on the team, because for us, being on the chopping block like that, being in a tough situation, was not what we were used to at all. So it caused a lot of problems. We skewed too far into caring about winning over everything else, and I feel like that made it far more easily tilted for us.
Yeah.
Plus, you've been playing for a long time. Somebody makes the same mistake they've made 3 seasons in a row, and that's kind of a thing. In the beginning, it's easy just to brush off. You're like, oh well, you know, I made a mistake, or whoever made a mistake. We'll be fine. We'll carry through. I mean, we started off our entire run with a pretty hard loss for us, and after that, it kind of bonded us together. We got our first vacation, our first trip to a tournament together, and that's when it all started to become real. So
cool.
it was an easy momentum to carry for a little bit, and then it starts kind of flipping around on the other side, where you start looking at all sorts of other things. They start getting in the way. So for them, apparently, they're one of the teams that get motivated in crunch time. And there was a time when that was us, and that was not us. Definitely at all near the end. If it was close, lots had gone wrong.
So kind of in the same way that, you know, when a team said during a season has their ups, their downs, their strides, they're going to fall apart, they come back. I mean, a team can experience that also over a long period of time.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, burnout is not something that happens quickly most of the time, unless you just have a really kind of chaotic team. And a lot of the times, you know, what'll kind of play into it is making changes. So you put in a new player because the other player, I don't know, wasn't performing, or was some sort of problem for the team dynamic, or just was kind of devastating to morale.
Yeah.
Or you change out who plays what, that kind of stuff. And then it's like you get this feeling of, well, we tried this and it failed, and we tried this and it failed, and we tried this and it failed, and we can't get rid of these problems. And it becomes this thing, you know, once,
it's just with
like
us.
I said, once something has happened one time, it's easy to brush off. Once it starts repeating, it's not so easy, especially if you get into a situation where you expect to win. If you come out with the expectation of playing the best that you can, somebody else can fail, but you can look at your game and be like, well, I had a great game. And you're kind of chipper about it. You're like, oh, look at that. I almost carried everything out. We didn't get it done, but
I did good.
As long as everybody doesn't throw the next one and I carry like that, we're gonna be great. So it just depends on their frame of mind, and we've talked about that quite a bit as being one of the most important parts of this game.
#CarryPantsD, guys. Just give these teams more of a time to kind of come in and work on this DC problem. We're going to go to a quick break, but we'll be right back.
Update 9.13 will bring a new vehicle branch, over a dozen vehicles reworked in HD, and more than 30 vehicles with improved characteristics. Also, a new map will appear in the game. You can learn more details from our review. A new vehicle branch will appear in the game very soon. 10 Czechoslovakian vehicles have passed playtesting on the test server and are waiting to be unleashed. The main traits of the new branch are autoloaders and good maneuverability. Several new vehicles are equipped with an autoloading system. They can be found in Tier 3, Tier 6, and Tier 9, and include the Tier 10 medium tank. Its drum contains 4 shells with an average damage of 320 each. Reload time inside the drum is 1.5 seconds, and reloading the whole drum takes less than 25 seconds. This tank has almost no armor, but due to its good dynamics, good aiming characteristics, and excellent gun elevation and depression angles, this new tank will take its rightful place among the other top medium tanks. The reworking of vehicle models in HD continues. This time, about 20 fully revamped vehicles await players. They are vehicles of various nations, tiers, and types. Also, the characteristics of some vehicles will be improved. Many Chinese vehicles will receive better maneuverability and gun depression angles. The durability of several tank destroyers will be significantly improved. Changes will be made to more than just these vehicles to make playing them more convenient. You can learn more about these adjustments on our official website. Alongside the tanks, a Czechoslovakian map, Pilsen, will appear in the game. This location drops players into battle at an abandoned factory. Numerous half-ruined buildings, vast open spaces, and scarce flora. All this should make gameplay dynamic and active. Battling here will be enjoyable for all vehicle types.
Greetings. If you want to try something new, if you dream of becoming famous, if you are not afraid to challenge yourself and others, try the new way to play team battles. The leaderboard. Form your own team. Play together. Perform well and receive unique marks of distinction, credits, and ranked points. Every win takes you a step closer to the top of the leaderboard. Start your path to glory by setting up your own team. You just need to press a button, then send invites. The maximum number of players in a team is 12, but 7 is enough to play ranked battles. Any member can be promoted to the rank of officer by a team's commander. Officers can send the team into battle. After the team is complete and all members have confirmed they are ready to start, the commander presses the battle button and a special matchmaker seeks for a rival of equal strength. Once a suitable rival is found, you are redirected to the spawn screen. You can see the map for the upcoming battle and the spawn positions of the teams. With this knowledge, every team member can change their selected vehicle, but the time for that is limited. If all players in the team have confirmed that they are ready, the team members enter the battle in the vehicles they have chosen. If any player fails to choose their vehicle, the whole team enters the battle in the vehicles originally chosen. If your team is complete, but you want a regular unranked team battle, you can press the Go to Unranked Battles button to switch. You can go back to playing ranked battles at any time. If there are less than 7 members in a team, then the team can only play unranked battles. In unranked battles, you can always ask some legionnaires to fill spots on your team. This is also a good way to find players who can later be added to your permanent team. A legionnaire is any player who is not a member of the permanent team, but plays in that team in unranked battles. Any legionnaire can find a team and join its ranks. To do this, enter the ranked battles mode. In the list of teams, you'll only see the teams that are seeking additional players. Every player can find a team to suit their taste and apply there. Remember, you can apply to only one team at a time, so if you have already applied to a team and then find a better option, you'll have to cancel the first application before applying again. Every team has their own page featuring detailed statistics. Here you can see the team's position on the leaderboard, the vehicles in which they play best, and the maps where they win the most often. You can also see the personal statistics of every player. You are able to see the teams who are in the same division. In the Statistics tab, you can also see a team's achievements from season to season.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the WGLNA Season 2 Gold League. I'm your host, Christian Toma. To my left, David Williams. Make sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube /WGLNA. If you're not watching this on BattleViewer.com, go over there right now and check it out. And finally, follow us on Twitter @WGLNA so you guys can stay up to date on what's happening in the community around you. We are now back. It seems that the teams have gotten all the internet problems fixed. We are getting ready to go right into the battle, guys. No more delays. So let's get right back into Ruinberg and take a look again what we've got for tanks.
Well, as the rule stands, they have to have the same lineup and the exact same tanks.
That's right.
No matter what.
No matter
So
what.
they are the same. So we can go ahead and get this out of the way fairly quickly. You want to do it?
Oh, yeah, can I do it?
You want to do it fast?
Let's try this out.
Go
All
for
right.
it.
On the side of Googlybobbers, 2 113s, an AMX50B, an Object 140, 2 Object 140s, a T22 and a T54. On the side of Aquatic M60s, we have an FV5B, wow, 2 E5s, a 50B, a T22, a Conqueror, and an Object 432.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
It's. I need to learn the nicknames of the tanks. Trying to read them all quickly is a problem.
That is a stumbling point. You get to that area.
I was like FV. No, we don't say this. We just say 5B, and then my brain.
215.
It was
Could
over.
say 5B or 215B.
215B. That's much
50B.
quicker. Man. All right, David.
Right, here we
you make this
go.
look easy.
Tuxzilla. In case anybody was curious, like I was, Tuxzilla right here, highest distance traveled in that disconnected game.
Congratulations, Tuxzilla.
MVP.
Getting that. Is there a medal for that?
No.
There needs to be. There needs to be a medal for that.
There's probably a medal for distance traveled somewhere. But
Sure.
in WGLNA specifically,
No.
I doubt. Oh, we already have some spotting going out here. As Tuxzilla is going to have to cut it short. Getting early lit from Veggie, some blind fire coming out from the Googlybobbers into that area, as they know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the only way that they're getting spotted is very, very likely. I think there's actually 1 or 2 places, but it's very likely this bush right here, where Veggie just was. Fortunately for him and AM60s, he
Got
sneaked out of there with no damage whatsoever.
So looking at, when a team kind of gets set up like that, if you are Googlybobbers, all of a sudden someone spotted out, the communication is super quick, super crisp, like, hey, I'm spotted out. Everyone's like, great, they're probably from Delta Village. And that blind fire comes out from there. How long do you blind fire until do you just do a couple shots and just, kind of move on with the plan? Or
We might have time to get back to that a little bit later, but we do have a fight already shaping up here in the western
city.
part of the map. Mr. Man and Shapeshifter trying to collapse in on Viral, getting picked up from multiple angles, airtie. Just firing from the fountain area, and this is going to go bad for AM60s very, very, very fast.
Viral bouncing a couple of those shots in that T22, but doing a good job getting around the corner. But now he's exposed himself to most of the Delta Village, where Aquatic M60s is ready and waiting. He is still up. He just lost it, but 387 goes into him.
Viral
799, and
getting picked off
Ural
from
takes him
Delta.
down. There it is, the first tank fallen for Googlybobbers already. We'll see how they kind of can respond from this one. Aquatic M60s already looking good here onto Ruinberg. So Viral just getting caught out there. I mean, obviously where he went when he turned the corner seemed like it just wasn't the best place for him to go in that situation.
You're right, but it's difficult. There was a chance. I mean, he is a T22. There was a chance that he could angle backwards. Let's see if there's fight over here is developing into anything particularly quickly. Looks like some shots going off. A little bit side to side, some early action. Nothing too extreme yet. Zone, Delta, Felix, and Flesh all trading a few blows here. Tuxzilla getting another one in on Flesh. And this is going to start picking up speed real fast now.
7 Tesla taking some damage. Sovereign Jewel as well, just little by little to both sides, bleeding HP. 5 minutes in the battle. Sovereign Jewel taking another shot there from Felix in that 5B. Man, that 5B has a quick reload timer. 7 Teslas, 695, Sovereign Jewel 384, and it's starting to see like Aquatic M60s in their position are starting to rule out the Delta Village from Googlybobbers, and they are now backing up in response. Tuxzilla is still spotted out here. What do you do as Googlybobbers? Where do you go? Can you go back, or do you just got to keep going? What Tuxzilla is doing as he's taking damage, he gets tracked. 794 going into that 140. Tries to get out of the corner. Felix bouncing a shot. 432 going to him again. A couple more, and that 140 will be going down. Felix though taking 632 in that 5B. He's got to be careful. He's lining up a shot. He's looking for Tuxzilla. He wants him to poke out just for a second, and he'll be able to take it. Nothing yet. Tuxzilla is still remaining alive here. But to Googlybobbers, only 7,400 points of HP against the 11,300 on the side of Aquatic. As about half the battle is about to go by. 4 minutes and 6 seconds on the clock. And we have a T54 kind of strain for Googlybobbers. We'll see how he comes into play, being driven by Urtai right now. But David, looking at the kind of the Delta Village again, Googlybobbers just super committed to where they are. There really is no backing up for him, is there?
Absolutely not, especially for Tuxzilla. He's now sandwiched between multiple tanks. Veggie could come in and finish him at pretty much any time for virtually no cost. He does have to take a risk to cross the road. There are safe ways of doing that, but Tuxzilla, being at the level of hit points he is not a significant threat to AM60s. They've already picked off Viral's T22.
Ooh.
Getting combo fire from both the Delta and the 3-line in there. Tesla taking quite a bit. Felix taking a little bit back as Tuxzilla snuck one in. Veggie's Tired of this, he's going to come in and try and pick off Tuxzilla as quickly as possible.
Urtai.
As Tux getting shot from both different
Whoa.
angles, and Vegemar probably coming in for the kill. Bounces another one. Airtie is going to go big to try and even this up.
Waltzing that T-22 by himself in the T-54, driving right through multiple lanes of fire here, and now Felix getting collapsed on Zone Delta. Finish him off there, but beautiful focus fire coming from Googlybobbers as they pick up a tank of their own. And now they're going to see if they can continue this snowball. Flesh taking 905 in that Conqueror, and now the HP slowly getting closer than what it was, but Morphic takes down Tuxzilla in the 140. Veggie getting lit up from the back, 559 going into him in that T-22, and Urtai finishes him off in the T-54. It is now a 5-on-5. Both teams, though, low in favor of Aquatic M60s. More damage going across. Urtai and Starman still both taking some shots there. They've got to be careful. Starman looks like he's 1 or 2 in that 113. T-54, 1 shot at best. Ural taking 462 points of damage there. Morphic takes down Sovereign in the 113. Now Googlybobbers dropping to just 4 tanks, and all very, very low, below half health from all of them. 296 there, going to Morphic. The shot from Urtai just missing. 2 minutes and 13 seconds on the clock, though. All Aquatic M60s have to do is finish off Googlybobbers or stay alive, and it looks like they want to do the former. Flesh takes down Zone Delta. Shapeshifter finds Destruction Mang. 7 Tesla does take down Morphic, but Shapeshifter takes out that 140 in response, leaving just Urtai. He is gone, and Aquatic M60s is going to find their first victory of the night against Googlybobbers here. On to Ruinberg. So David, kind of looking at that battle real quick, my first question is as you said, Flesh got a shot snuck up basically onto him without him responding or anything. So is that when your turret's faced and the other team's just watching where you're at, and then the moment you're not on him, you just pop over quickly and take the shot?
Exactly, and people typically don't expect the lower health tank to kind of take that gamble. And he wasn't that big of a deal. Veggie potentially could have come over and handled that. So in a sense, in him actually attempting to poke would have made it easier for Veggie to kill. But let's get into the stats for now.
Let's do it.
For Googlybobbers, Tuxzilla taking the lead, and not just damage traveled this time. 2227 out of his 140, 2113 out of 7 Tesla, 2000 out of Destruction Mang, almost 2000 out of Zone Delta, and everybody else falling behind that 1500 mark. Morphic with 2800 in his E5, and I honestly thought he blocked more than that, but apparently not. Some interesting angling coming out of him. Basically held down a corner without backing off it, which set AM60s up to take that win. Shapeshifter behind him with 2250 and some fairly good accuracy here. Felix with 2500 as well. We can go ahead and round it up a little bit. Ural almost 2000, Veggie 1600, and only 2 people dipping below that 1500 mark.
So I mean, pretty good damage coming out from both of these teams here in that first battle. The 2 113s that are being brought, where did you see them kind of used? Do you feel like they were used well? I mean, just kind of in the brawl. Is that a good brawling tank?
It's not a terrible brawling tank.
Okay.
It's a difficult tank to play a lot of the time. It does have some bounce potential, but it's an interesting pick overall. I'd have to really spend this match focusing on it, or I guess next match focusing on it, to really see what their contribution was. But other than that, they're pretty much just a heavy soaking up hit points.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we are now getting ready to go into the next battle. We're switching sides. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
Googlybobbers with 2 113s, again a 50B, 2 215s, a TVP, and a T54 lightweight, AM60 with a 50B, a 215, an E5 of an Object 432 T22s, and an RU 251. So we will get a chance.
Check out those 2 113s.
113s here. I've been playing kind of its little brother, in a sense, little sister, the 121 lately. And I like it quite a bit. It's got a very nice gun on it. It's not the best accuracy overall, but reasonable penetration with an AP round, and it just hits really hard. I believe it has the highest alpha of all mediums at tier 10.
I was thinking, so it is a tier 10, the 121?
Yes. So for public matches, and that's the difference. You know, high DPM in a public match is one thing if you just get to sit and snipe.
Sure.
But other than that, you're basically making trades every time you fire, or you're at least taking the risk. So I like playing the 121 because not only is it not a commonly played tank, so it's kind of got more effective armor.
That troll
it gets
armor.
bounced a lot.
Yeah.
But it also hits very hard each time you poke. Already though, Zone Delta and Veggie getting spots on each other. Airtie very forward bush to guarantee that he spots more of this coming out. Flesh and Veggie lit so far. Mr. Man even firing and not getting spotted. That is pretty intense. Airtie taking 1 shot to try and escape Delta. 2 now.
Another shot. A third shot there, 329 going to that T-54. He's got to be careful. One more, he'll go down. Veggie is just not stopping, hasn't hit the brakes since he's gotten right here onto the 0 line. Is going to go pushing straight up into the Delta Village. He's been spotted the entire way. Googlybobbers obviously knowing where he's at. But Aquatic M60s has already started putting some cap pressure on. Well, now they've gotten off. Felix and Redux actually just driving through. They're looking to take Delta Village right now. Urtai is on the run. Shapeshift from the 50B starting to lay some shots down. Destruction Mang for 1,100 points of damage, that 113. And now he is on reload, but he's almost, already a quarter of the way done, so he should be right back into this fight. Destruction and Sovereign have to get out of that center road. That 50B is going to light them up again. Let's see where they can go here. 619 going to Sovereign's Jewel. 7 Tesla taking 343 in that 5B. And Aquatic again with that HP lead by about 1,000 right now. No tanks down on either side. Zertai, though, might be falling. Morphic taking a nice shot from him in the R251. Let's see if he can get across the side. No, Shapeshifter picks him up in that 50B. And now that is the first tank fallen for the side of Googlybobbers. Destruction Ming taking some damage here, and this looks like it was a trigger that Aquatic M60s was looking to pull. Viral taking over 1,000 points. 7 Tesla taking some shots as well. That 50-51 will be going down any second. Mr. Man, but Veggie finds Felix, his own teammate. This might be Googlybobbers able to come back here. Veggie getting very low himself now. Flesh taking 400 points of damage down at T22. And Sovereign and Destruction Main find 2 kills. A T22 and an E5 now going down. 4 tanks for Aquatic against the 4 for Googlybobbers. Mr. Man takes down Destruction Main though, and kind of ties up their shapes. They're fine. 7 Tesla. Aquatic M60 starting to come back from what was very close a defeat there. 613 going to Sovereign Zool. 880. Sovereign does find Flesh before he goes down, but he actually is still alive here. Morphic takes a shot, 325, that RE251 trying to finish him off there. Mr. Man just barely missing the shot on his own. Morphic missing as well. It's now a 3-on-3. The HP only 500 away, and now as Morphic takes a shot, Tuxzilla takes him down the 50B. 2 more shots left in that autoloader, and Googlybobbers might be coming back here. The shot going into Mr. Man, 346, and 1 more for 370. Googlybobbers have now taken the lead in HP. So Delta just missing that shot, and Mr. Man is on the run here, trying to get to safety. Shapeshifter holding his 4 shots, 468, barely getting around the corner with just 14 points of HP. David, what in the world is going on? That one friendly fire from Aquatic M60s, and now the whole game has gone south for him.
I wouldn't say that was the original impetus of all this. I will say really quickly, Mr. Man should not have escaped there. Zone Delta and Sovereign Zool not communicating on who the focus fire would be. Even just a track shot would have guaranteed Zone Delta get another shot out there. So 1 tank slipping by, we'll see if that actually makes that big of a difference. Sovereign Zool can take the lead here against Shapeshifter. Tuxzilla is sliding into a nice position to guarantee damage on him. They'll very likely have to brawl him directly in this window where they come into his shot solution on his own. Because I doubt he is going to poke at all. This is no real advantage for him to do it. However, he is on offense, so he does need to come out. And perhaps, if he could only see. Never mind. Picking off Zone Delta from a very tight angle from there, putting 3 more shots. Sorry, scratch that. 1 shot into Sovereign Zool is that failure to track. He's going to come back here in just a moment. Both these tanks collapsing on Mr. Man. I do not think Shapeshifter can bring it out, but there have been trickier situations played out in WGLNA in the past.
Yeah, we'll see if Aquatic M60s can get out of this one right now. Mr. Man now is lit. 1 shot missing from Tuxzilla. He took the corner a little too short. Another one going into him, and Tuxzilla is going to finish him off there. I was so scared for Tuxzilla right there, for Morphic right there, that I couldn't even speak. I was like, oh, he made it. He did. He hit a wall. I was trying to say it all at once, but Tuxzilla did find that kill, and now to Shapeshifter and the 50B, 4 shots against a 113 and another 50B on offense. That's going to be tough.
Does not have enough damage in a single clip to set these people, or to kill all these opponents.
What if he sets them
Unless
both on
he's
fire?
setting them on fire.
Yeah, let's see.
He could load the old Meadowhawk play. And this
It was
would
on
be
Ruinberg.
Easy peasy.
It was on Ruinberg. He might be just channel Meadowhawk, and you can light these tanks on fire.
So overall there, what I saw was actually Viral sacrifice in the TVP. Came around from the other side, guarantees that he gets focus fired, which allows a lot of other tanks to come around the corners with relative impunity and dump that damage, and they're all consistent fire tanks. So the TVP gets its clip out and dies. It's already got 4 shots of damage in, provided he penetrates them all.
And it's just going to be shield anyway.
And then he's going to sacrifice himself. There is never a better situation if you're going to sacrifice a tank than for your autoloader to go down right after he's dumped his clip if it's an expendable one. 50Bs are a little bit different But if that allows the rest of your team that introductory damage and you still chipped in 1,000, 1,500, you're looking pretty good. But a nice trap set by Googlybobbers from 2 angles. Sovereign Zoom might go down. We'll see if Tuxzilla can get the shots in to guarantee that he will kill Shapeshifter. If he doesn't.
Oh, he doesn't!
And actually, Tuxzilla is just ahead of Shapeshifter in clip. Tuxzilla knows it. He's going to start chasing him down. If Shapeshifter had let it fly just ahead of time, he perhaps could have gotten it out. It's a tricky decision to make there. It looks to me as though Shapeshifter could even be caught if he makes one mistake here. This is always kind of a tricky situation, but it doesn't matter as he's going to load, and he needs to get really lucky to pay this off.
One shot going in. Tuxzilla not going to let him get the second one, and that is going to be Googlybobbers tying it up here 1-1. I mean, it just got close at the end as well. I mean, like you said, if Shapeshifter would have got that shot off any earlier, his second shot would have been up. He might have been able to win that.
Yep. If perhaps, given the intra clip, had he just fired that shot into the wall and gotten reloaded,
he would have the 2.
He might
but,
have.
I mean, there's no way he would have known that. But I mean,
I'm not blaming him for that. I mean, who can? Besides,
what an amazing move.
Let's look at the stats.
Let's do it.
Let's look at the stats.
A lot of damage done that game.
Just a tad. Just a tad. We're going to pretend that didn't happen for a minute. Tuxzilla, 39.73 in his 50B. Zone Delta, 36.81 in his 215. Sovereign Zool with almost 2,000 and 1,100 bounced. And over here, there you go, Viral. Not only did he get shots in before he actually committed, he got in some as he committed. And I'm not sure which ones of those bounced. My guess is the bounce happened earlier in the fight, not when he full committed, and that he got 3 shots in.
Wow.
Didn't see exactly.
Well played, Viral.
But we're running out of time here, so let's get this done. Shapeshifter, 5,000, 19 shots, 19 hits, 15 penetrations.
Mother of man.
And 4 kills. That is one of the best performances I've ever seen, and he's not on my fantasy team, but, you know, rip. Object 430, Mr. Man, 2,700. Morphic with 2,000, and Flesh with 2,000.
He broke 5K.
He did.
He broke
5,000 damage.
5,000 damage.
60 almost.
In a 7-on-7. Oh, man, well done. Well done indeed. Now, if you shoot your
and
team...
of course, 2.14 kilometers driven.
That's right.
Let's not overplay the importance of damage
here. Yeah, he traveled that distance like a boss. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now all tied up 1-1. Switching sides again. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
Man, I wonder how much that ram did to him as well, if anything. You could go back and comb over that.
So
and
many
see
things.
Little things.
So
but
many
he almost
things.
carried the whole game. How can you fault him for it? Googlybobbers with 2 113s, a 50B, 2 140s, a T22, and a T54 lightweight. AM60s with a 215, 2 E5s, a 140, a T22, a WE100, and an RU251.
Man, you just like a pro. It's like you've been doing this for multiple seasons or something.
Professional tanks, reader of lists,
and you
list reader.
Is there an award for that one yet? We gotta be award there.
Nope.
Nope. Is that like a hint to Tim? Tim, we can make an award for that. Starting out now.
He is indeed our awards manager. So that would be his job.
That's his job. Googlybobbers now sending Urtai and Viral, T54 and T22 on that center road. The F-road there, not spotting anyone. Can you spot tanks' movements from their positions right there in F4? In Deltaville, it's a little too far.
Well, kind of. It depends if they're in the 7 line, but we have something else developing already. We haven't seen this that much so far in this season as we have in past, but Flesh and Veggie coming down to K0, trying to initiate a hard fight. Veggie getting lit a little bit ahead of time could spoil the surprise. 7 Tesla getting lit in response. AM60s getting 1 shot out, but not a whole lot of focus fire other than that.
All right there, and now that kind of game is up. Flesh, a lot of focus fire coming up from Googlybobbers. Only 1 connecting him for about 400 points of damage there in that 140. But as you saw, all those red lines going straight for his position here. Luckily for him, only 1 connecting. Now a nice shot there coming from Veggie onto Sovereign Zool. Now, if you're Googlybobbers right now and you see these 2 members of Aquatic, is it worth spending the time to commit and take them down? Or do you go somewhere else? Or is it now hard to go somewhere else because they'll just kind of shoot from the back?
It's difficult to go somewhere else once you've engaged at this point in time in this area. That's for sure.
All right. So we'll see kind of what they do, what their plan is to get them out of there. David, what is there like a standard of getting tanks out from that position from the offensive side?
It can be pulled back. You just have to worry about a little bit of soak damage while you do, and it's more of a head game of how many tanks you think are going to be able to fire on that area. It's probably a lot less than you think, but it's still unnecessary damage. And when you're already down in hit points, that's not something you want to keep adding up.
What about sending a couple tanks over now, going and capping on the north? Then you're putting pressure on by just maybe one, and then they have to leave eventually.
Yeah, that's indeed not a bad idea at all. I mean, you have the T-54 lightweight and the T-22 flanking around the other angle. Could be huge. The problem there is you already have 2 team members for AM60s committed and very close to isolation and focus fire on both Tuxzilla and 7 Tesla. Then you have the rest of AM60 besides the RU-251 Morphic right there in Delta Village, where they're able to just quickly collapse on what you have left. So when that RU-251 spots things, 7
like
Tesla taking a shot. 2 shots out of Flesh and Veggies are now starting to play harder out of that position. 3 shots, and 7 Tesla's going to need to escape as Shapeshifter takes one more shot. Does not connect. She's got to find a way to slide out of this position before it all gets even worse than it already is. That's a lot of HP soaked, but it looks like Googlybobbers are going to go for a hard cap in the north and create a split fight. So this is going to handle that position, that situation I was starting to explain, and we'll see if it works out for Googlybobbers.
It'll be interesting indeed. Aquatic M60s might just know the overmatch that they have, and we'll take it. Actually, the cap actually not going through. T-54 and T-20 going right over fight, chasing onto Morphic. That's the tank they want to take down here. Viral taking a shot as well there from the side. Delta Village starting to support their teammate here from Aquatic M60s. Meanwhile, Tuxzilla taking a little bit of damage as well. 4 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. 7 Tesla taking another shot. One more, and Shumei going down there. Morphic, though, will be falling. Veggie does find 7 Tesla. The first tank down. Sovereign Zool picks up Morphic, and a 1-for-1 exchange here for both of the teams. But for an RE251 that Googlybobbers got, Aquatic got an Object 140.
It's a significantly better trade for Googlybobbers if they can get that 54 lightweight on cap, or really anything on cap. Both 113s are going to hop over the middle part of the map and try and start denying AM60s from the ability to return. AM60s have to both find an isolation, take it out, and continue the momentum back to cap in order to stop this. But with only 1 tank on, it's not going to be enough pressure, perhaps offering up 3, maybe 2 tanks to AM60s. Right now, Googlybobbers are in a very tricky position.
All right, we'll see if they can take the hint and get. It looks like they're putting Viral and Urtai on right now to put that pressure, as they're just going to leave Tuxzilla, Destruction, and Starveland to soak up as much time for Aquatic as possible. There is a second taking out a third tank, dropping the cap down to now 18 seconds. We'll see if they can hold it off. Aquatic M60s, now as the pressure's on, are starting to head over there. Flesh is just running. He has 1 goal right now, and that is to get the reset. 9 seconds on the clock. Redux and Shapeshifter flying kills, but it's going to be nothing if Flesh can't get there in time. 439 going in. Destruction Man just needs to end him, but Shapeshifter takes him out. If he gets the shot, Firewall takes it before he can, though. But Firewall steps off the cap. It looks like, no, Mr. Man found the reset on that T-22 just in time, allowing Aquatic M60s to come over the side. 3 tags remaining for Googlybobbers. 5 for Aquatic M60s, and it looks like now that Aquatic is there, this game is theirs. The cap pressure no longer a problem for Aquatic, and what Googlybobbers had is slowly now fading away. 1,400 points of damage going into Zone Delta, and he gets picked off and finished down by Mr. Man in that E100, leaving just Viral and Urtai to fight for their lives here. Viral getting sandwiched in between Shapeshifter and Veggie. 549, there is nowhere he is going to go. Let's see if Viral actually can get it. That was Urtai, excuse me, in that T-54. Viral now running away in that T-22. Veggie loading the shot, will not get it. And that is going to be possibly Viral escaping, but for nothing. He is not on defense, he is on offense. Nothing Googlybobbers can do at this point. But man, what a close cap coming out from Googly.
1 simple track shot would have made all the difference in that reset. And that would have been, that's it, that's all. Actually, now that I think about it, it would have depended on who got the spotting, because I believe it was Mr. Man firing from the 0 line that got the reset with his W100.
Yeah.
So, if none of those tanks were spotted, you obviously couldn't fire at them unless Mr. Man somehow just blind fired and guessed it, but I believe the sacrifice of Flesh coming around the corner there
was what spotted him out.
That's just an entertaining phrase to say. A sacrifice of Flesh allowed AM60s to pull this game out of almost certain defeat.
What kind of team is Aquatic M60s? Viral in a position that I've never seen this season, so I'm excited. Googlybobbers pulling out some new things.
Oh man! Well, if you wanted to camp Ruinberg really hard,
it's right here
know about these positions.
This is the kind of things that you can pull out now in public matches. But Veggie might be finding him. He's like, he can't be over here. There's no way that a tank would go over here. No, he's aiming.
Guessing they're looking for
Oh!
more time to discuss. 1 little track getting lit around that corner. And Veggie.
Oh.
taking a little bit of tricky shots here. If only he knew Viral wasn't even looking. Viral comes back, takes that shot for a track. And it's just a few seconds here until either Felix or Veggie comes and puts Viral out of his misery.
There it is. It's going to be Felix. I'm calling it right now. Oh, no, it's going to be Felix. Picking up that kill.
Doing it backwards for style points.
There it is. Man, if only style points were a thing. If only style points were a thing. Fantastic job for Felix. But Aquatic M60s now with their second victory of the night. I mean, what I do kind of like about those situations that Googlybobbers is in, they're looking like, hey, well, we only have a tank left. There's no way we're going to win. This is like a free timeout, right? I mean, we got really close. This is what we could do next time. It gives them more of a time to talk about it. But also, you have to look at it. It does give Aquatic M60s also time to talk about what they have done too. So,
indeed,
timeouts goes
always
both ways.
A two-way street. Let's go ahead and get into stats. There's one thing I want to highlight from the previous game first.
Whoa.
We kind of glazed over it as we were running short on time, but Morphic, 2,000 damage, right? Oh, wait, he's in the RU-251. I noticed a lot of clutch play coming out from Morphic in that last set. And I felt like he was starting to throw his hat into the ring. Sorry, not starting. Continuing to throw his hat into the ring for best scout in the league. He's got a tricky fight to go against Wally there.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily help, but it is a Ruinberg cap situation, so you can't really fault him on it. Googlybobbers getting pretty far on the cap, but not a whole lot of damage in. And meanwhile, for AM60's Veggie, 3,000 damage into T22 with 1,100 bounced, 3.5 driven, and 62 points in a reset. This is just a great game. This all around is great. Shapeshifter, 2,600 and 1,600 assisted as well. Felix, 2,200 in his 215. Flesh, 2,000 in his 140.
With a sacrifice play too.
And 1,720 bounce.
Holy
in a 140. And a sacrifice play, absolutely. There's no metric for that, but there should be. Apparently it wasn't Mr. Man that got the reset.
It wasn't?
I guess it all goes back to, I believe it was Flesh that must have gotten it.
Huh.
So he got the reset as he died. So 100% tracking him would have won
the game for him.
How did he get that? No, it wasn't Flesh that had that. Sorry. Veggie had it, the T22.
Okay,
that makes way more sense.
Okay. I was
that
like,
makes so much more sense.
that game could have been won by a track. That game. Well, I feel like a lot
It probably could have been won by a track either way.
Okay.
There's a good chance.
Tracks are important. But we talk about it's harder to track a tier 10, right?
Yes. And the repair times are faster.
Oh, wow. That sounds awful.
At tier 8, it's vastly different. You track somebody, and
They're
they're
done.
not getting back to cap. The horsepower per ton, they've got to build up and get that momentum.
And you're going to track them
for
again.
Yeah, well, maybe. Maybe you don't even need to.
They're
very
dead at
different
that point.
situation. Tier 10 is much kinder to these folk in doing so.
To the track, which makes it even more
But
amazing when these teams
the idea
pull it
of
off.
just like driving across the map and sniping a tank for the reset like that, at tier 8, that wasn't going to happen either. So, two-way street.
Yeah, that's the theme of the night, guys. Two-way street indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, Aquatic is now up 2-1. Can Googlybobbers come back and tie it up? Will Aquatic make it 3-1? Let's go right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
Zombie food almost not loading in there. Googlybobbers with 2 113s, a 50B, 2 215s, a TVP, a T54 lightweight, AM60s with a 50B, a 215, an E5, a 142, T22s, and an RU-251. Googlybobbers on defense this time, looking to tie everything up after a near victory.
Yeah, super close there, down to the final seconds on the cap. Shapeshifter along with Morphic now going off the F-road there.
Think about this. If that 54 lightweight, or actually any tank, any one tank had rotated back even 2 seconds earlier,
Yeah, you're
that
right.
would have been a win.
You're absolutely
They spent a very,
right.
very, very long time in the north before committing that overall cap pressure. So AM60s, in a big way, honestly, getting let off the hook there because Googlybobbers had them strategically.
multiple
just gave it up in a couple different situations. Shapeshifter taking one shot there from Zone Delta. And Veggie and Mr. Man lit as they try and head towards K0. They're going to stop. Just play a little bit of bumper cars before they continue on here. Now, they are just using this building to kind of block a lot of shots, along with that bush camo, to attempt to fade off of the radar before they rotated someplace else, as they now believe that their entire zero line push has been shut down by some very interesting scouting by Airtight.
We take a look at those positions right now. The TV4 lightweight, he is driving, sitting over there at the Delta Village. Shot there, blind fire coming out from Zone Delta and Sovereign. We'll see now what Aquatic M60 is going to do. Maybe they just wait. and then just try again. Viral getting lit up there, spotting out Morphic as well. Morphic taking a shot for him. 224 going to that 50-51, and he is on his way out. David, the speed of the 50-51, would you use it ever as a scout, or is it just, he was just there to look out for what's happening in the north?
I don't think you can use it very well as a scout.
Okay.
My experience with it is a little bit skewed because the one I have does not have all of the crew skills.
Gotcha.
So I haven't really played it that much. Playing any tank without Sixth Sense is, at this point in time, brutal for me. So
so used to
we'll see when I get around to training that crew up a little bit. But overall, when I've played that and the Skoda, their maneuverability wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. And in particular, backing up seemed like it was going incredibly slow.
Okay, so maybe not a good tenting out positions right now, but Morphic getting caught out. 704 going at him in the R251, but he knows he cannot hit the brakes. He's got to get up to these houses to get some cover. Let's see if he can make it. Yes, he does, just in time there. As Zone Delta had a shot ready and waiting for him. 326 going to him. Zone Delta, though, getting lit up now. Beautiful focus fire coming up from Aquatic M60s, over 1,000. Now 327 at 5B, and the rest of Aquatic M60s is just going to push up here on the Sovereign. And Viral taking the shots and right to him. And they're just going to try to lock out this 5B and delete him quickly as Felix takes down Zone Delta. That is one tank fallen for Googlybobbers. And it looks like quickly it will be a second here, but Tuxzilla coming to join the fight in that 50B. A second shot goes on the Flesh for 1,100 points, and Tuxzilla's going to finish him off as Felix takes down Sovereign Zool. Now 2 tanks down for Googlybobbers, just 1 for Aquatic M60s here. Mr. Man now going very aggressive against Viral, goes take the shot, gets the ram, gets ready for the finishing shot off here, dodges one from Viral, and takes him out there just for good measure. As Aquatic M60 is now chasing Tuxzilla back. He is on the run, but there is really nowhere that he can run to. A couple more shots and he'll be going down. Meanwhile, Destruction Man taking a lot of damage. 1,200 into that 113. He takes down Felix, though, before Redux takes him out. Tuxzilla dropping to 99 points of HP. Morphic actually taking him down there, leaving just Zombie Food and Urtai here. Left for Googlybobbers. Aquatic M60s, ladies and gentlemen, looks like they're going to pick up this victory as well, but Urtai takes down Redux, trying to find any tanks that they can. Shapeshifter, meanwhile, is on reload in that 50B. He's about 3/4 of the way done. Zombie Food and Urtai just out of there. They're like, we gotta go. Aquatic M60s chasing him down, spotting out Zombie Food. Aquatic should be able to finish this one up relatively shortly.
Well, if they can get the 113, they'll certainly be in business. And then after that, that 54 lightweight can be pesky, but they do have enough tanks to place them on cap.
Ooh, Zombie.
Just keep a T22 or 50B ready to roll away and pick off T54 lightweight when he comes in. Zombie has 1 shot left, though, and the T22s are going to pick that up right now.
There he goes in the corner. Veggie lights him up
on the move.
So that's, I was actually just about to say, David, what is the difficulty of that kind of shot where you just kind of just let it fly?
It's kind of a tricky thing to answer. It's not particularly difficult. A lot of the time, they're just using right-click, left-click. So they're putting on the game's auto-aim.
Oh, okay.
Then left-clicking and just leaving the rest into the randomness of things. Now, in a T22, you're going to hit.
Really?
You're going to hit. If you're going to penetrate is a different question, but probably.
Wow. So a good,
So not that hard.
A good tank to shoot
all
on the
that
move.
to say, not very hard.
The T22 right now, cap pressure being applied, and it looks like Urtai not even going to bother here, as he's just staying over on the side of the map on G1. He's just going to let Aquatic M60s take this one here. 5 seconds there as 3 members are on it. And it's going to be Aquatic picking up now their 3rd victory, making it 3-1 against Googlybobbers and ending out their match onto Ruinberg. So a much better performance than from last Thursday's, where they tied it up against Ving, and now going a 3-1 victory against Googly. Again, Ruinberg now is done. So on certain tanks as you're driving on the run, because you see that a lot, right? You're kind of chasing a tank. Is it different when you're like going straight at them and firing, when you're going side to side and firing? I mean, what is the difference of difficulty?
Straight at them is pretty easy.
Okay.
Aside from terrain, bouncing your gun up and down and whatnot. I mean, if you fire at the wrong time,
that's on you.
Right. Yeah. Side to side is definitely the hardest part because auto aim itself won't work at that point. So you have to manually do it.
That's tricky. Tricky
You
business.
don't always have to manually do it. It depends on distances and whatnot. But yes, you do need a lead, and there leading with both targets moving in opposite directions is one of the harder things to do overall.
But is it, after you kind of play the game a lot, as obviously professionals have, as you have, does it become just kind of natural? You're like, and here it is.
Oh yeah, you just get used to it. Let's go ahead and check out those stats.
Let's do it.
For Googlybobbers, 2,000 out of Zombie Food, almost 1,600 out of Tuxilla. Everybody else falling behind that somewhat arbitrary, but apparently magical 1,500 mark.
We called it early, too.
There you go. Now, this is where it flips the other way around, where almost everybody on AM60s got touched or broke or got close to the 1,500 mark. Either way, what we're trying to say is everybody here is over 1,000.
Right. All
Shapeshifter with
winning.
nearly 3,000, Mr. Man with nearly 2,800, Redux with 18, Felix with 17, and really just a great game for AM60s. Everything going well for them. Morphic squeezing in 1,500 out of his RU-251 is always going to be helpful. And just everything going according to plan there for AM60s.
I'm now, there was a train of thought that I was having as you were talking right there, and I'm not going to go fully into it because it just started going crazy. I started by thinking, now you see why the rule is you can only bring 2 of any type of tank. Because I'm thinking, like, man, a whole game, or not a whole game, but a game full of, 5 T-22s would just be, I would just be frustrated. I'm assuming the other team going up against that, which then made me think, hey, what a great way to resolve tilt. I mean, is that even a strategy? Like, if you feel like as a team you're tilted, would a captain ever go, guys, let's just play some fun tanks just to alleviate that tilt pressure and then get back into it?
Yes, and it is in fact my nightmare because you don't really train for this stuff. And once you get a look at it, it'll never work again. But sometimes people
sometimes it
tanks
just
and you
happens.
get thrown off for,
Like,
and it rustles people a little bit, and they just throw. They just throw hard.
Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Aquatic M60 is not in that position right now because they are up 3-1 against Googlybobbers. We are going on to steps. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for tanks.
Played a game once, back at Tier 8. The T92 is Tier 8. We'll get back to that. Hold on. Googlybobbers with a Leopard 1, 2 SDBs, 2 T22s, a TVP, and RU-251. Aquatic M60 with the Bat Chat in action, X at 140, and SDB, 2 T22s, and RU-251. So it was in pool play, so like round robin kind of format for an older tournament that was using the 742 format, but wasn't a officially sanctioned tournament. And
no rules.
And people were realizing that all they had to do was make our team draw, and then we couldn't advance. So they were doing crazy stuff. Yeah. So one team brought 5 T92s, and they got really lucky with them, and they one-shot 3 of our tanks.
Oh my gosh!
It was on Ruinberg. We poked a corner, and we got ruined.
Wow.
It was a frustrating game. Fortunately, made it out of pool play, so I didn't rage too hard.
Googlybobbers with the boost? What is that boost position right there, David?
We've seen in the past, it hasn't paid off big time for anybody yet. So we'll see if Googlybobbers have a better idea for it, or perhaps it's nice for spotting in a particular area.
Yeah, well, I was saying,
guarantee.
what is the thought behind
we'll
that?
see. We'll see very shortly. What Viral's up to up here? It is nice for guaranteeing you can't be flanked very easily, as if I rounded a corner and saw a tank up there. Granted, it is a Leopard 1, and it's not exactly known for its hull down potential.
Or armor.
It's
Shapeshifter.
Mostly just a very, very, very good gun. And you're talking dispersion on the move or firing on the move. Ooh, the Leopard 1 is great at.
Yeah, well, we talked about the idea between public matches and professional play, and Leopard 1 a fun
Leopard
tank
1,
in public matches.
Yes.
Woo!
Leopard 1's great in public matches, depending on kind of what your goals are. Not as great in WGLNA, but it's been working out for some people better than others. Zone Delta taking some fire here in the south. Potentially got spotted going into that spot.
No, he actually, this was Shapeshifter and Veggie down here about 30 seconds ago. Found him down in the kind of K6, K7 area. He was spotted out, took a shot. Shapeshifter actually took the shot on the move
so
and penetrated him.
He was spotted.
Yes,
okay.
yeah.
Because it's also a decent chance that things were blind fired in that area. But apparently not this time. AM60's favoring kind of a rotational kind of play. They're going to take the south away. Notice how every team that plays this map, on defense, they take the east, and then they either take north or south.
Right.
That's just gaining map
This is
control.
what you do.
And you wait for the other team's dispersion and try and do that. But AM60's floating down the entire eastern side, looking for an early pick on Tuxilla. This is the danger zone, because you try and poke and get shots in this middle area, and the whole middle area can fire back on you.
They collapse on you. We saw a rival do this. They went a little too aggressive chasing a tank up, and the rest of the team just collapsed down and picked up a victory.
How fitting that Rival would be the first team on air to enter
to
the danger
experience
zone.
the danger zone. Yeah, it's coincidence? I don't think not.
Illuminati confirmed.
Right now, Mr. Man being spotted out, just bouncing a shot there. Cap pressure being applied for Googlybobbers here. Airtight, and that RU251 is the one to start applying it. 7 Tesla and Zombie Food sitting there in the back. And now Tuxzilla spotted out himself. Mr. Man again being lit up in that T22. So Aquatic M60s, now that they're being spotted here by Googlybobbers, maybe this is the position that you were possibly going to be seeing that boost come into play, but now they have gotten off that boost
This
position.
is going to be interesting. Tuxzilla under fire from Flesh and Mr. Man.
Oh, 305 going into him, that T22 now 595. Let's see if that T22 can start bouncing shots. If not, he'll be going down here. There's not a single one. 681 going into him. Meanwhile, now Googlybobbers starting to respond, taking some shots on the back of Flesh. And Mr. Man, Flesh being focused down, 1378, going to the 140, and he might be falling. Who will be first, though? It's gonna be Tuxzilla to go down first. Mr. Man picking him up. And now Veggie finds Zombie Food from the back in the back chat. A beautiful shot there. Taking out that 50-51. 2 tanks down for Googlybobbers. Destruction, Zone Delta and 7 Tesla now pushing into the danger zone against the Aquatic M60s. Zone Delta finds Flesh, finishing him off that 140 here. And now it is kind of a 2v3, but the rest of Aquatic M60s, Morphic, Redux, and Felix now coming in from behind. They have now surrounded Zone Delta, Zone Delta 7 Tesla, and Destruction Ming, and are picking them off one by one. Aquatic M60s showing dominance here. Destruction Ming going down here very shortly. Felix looking for that shot, just barely missing it. Mr. Man's gonna pick it off, just leaving Viral here, trying to run away in that Leopard run. The Leopard won, and again, not the best tank with armor. 413 going into him. Well, actually bouncing a shot there. Not too bad, Leopard. Not too bad.
Run, Leopard, 1. Had to put it in. Had to put it in.
That was brilliant.
Before I praise M60, because that was excellent.
That was
They knew what
well
they were
done.
doing. We were talking about how it's the danger zone. They set up the rest of their tanks to not be readily visible so that Googlybobbers would dive on them. And they just got in damage the entire time Googlybobbers rotated.
Yeah.
Some little mistakes there in terms of where they could have stopped to guarantee they took less damage, things like that. But hey,
Overall.
nitpicking at that point,
Yeah.
because that was perfect counter, just baiting and counterplay.
Well, because again, I didn't even see the 3 members from Aquatic coming around the side and surrounding the rest once a Googlybobbers sent those guys in. I was like, whoa, wait, why are they here?
They were already on the eastern ridge, ready to fire
Really?
center if anybody tried to contribute.
Beautiful.
They're already on ridges, able to fire across. So both teams were essentially in the same place, where they were all surrounding that middle area, except there was a 2v1 going on in the center of it. There was a chance that Googlybobbers could have done all their support damage from where they needed to and not commit very hard, maybe send 1 or 2 in, but you got to be even-handed and be very,
And
very
confident, yeah.
And they've, I believe it was them that pulled it off against Rival. Somebody did, and they obviously remembered it. So they went hard for it, and AM60s did not forget.
Nope, they're like,
took advantage of
we
it.
saw you guys do this one time. This is how we're going to stop it. Statistics?
Let's see how much damage was done.
Check it out.
Over here for Googlybobbers, nobody breaking 1,500. That is a rough time. Zombie Food firing 10 overall shots and penetrating 2. That is no bueno. But
Wow.
I saw that he did not do any team damage. So that's good.
Hey, that's
because he actually did hit one of his teammates. It fired right through where a tank
Oh,
was.
no way.
And hit somebody else. At least that's what the tracer said to me. Woo. Over here for AM60 Shapeshifter leading off with 2,600. Mr. Man with 3,600.
Wow.
That's crazy talk.
Wow.
And 2,600 for Mr. Man, 2,400 for Veggie.
Great job.
And everybody else just, you know what? It's not that they weren't in the fight. It's that Shapeshifter and Mr. Man,
They took
and
it-
Veggie,
they took it
stole
all.
the damage.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, you guys want to come in? No, we're going to take it from you. This is our fantasy points.
Obviously didn't learn to share when they were younger.
No, yeah. I mean, come on. AM60s. I mean, yeah, you got the victory, but was it worth it? Was it really worth it? Yeah,
And it was well done. This is one of those things that I like. I just absolutely love about watching AM60s. Every once in a while, I see such clear intent about what they're doing.
Sure.
And it makes complete sense.
Like that was planned, that was executed beautifully, and that was a victory. Their 4th one, in fact, ladies and gentlemen. Now just needing one more to close out the night. Can they do it, or can Googlybobbers keep it alive? Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for tanks.
4 Googlybobbers, an IS-7, 2 STBs, 2 T-22s, a TVP, and an RU-251 for AM60, 1390, 2 T-22s, a 140, an Action X, and 2 E5s.
Now, kind of seeing as what has happened over the season here, when teams do have a lead and then the other team wins one and then wins another one and then wins the third one, now it's tied and then comes back. I start to question what I initially want to see when I'm on Aquatic M60s here. You know, you're on steps, you're on offense, notably a hard battle to win on offense, harder than defense for sure. And you're up 4-1. Yeah, I'd be like, hey, you know what? Let's just go crazy aggressive. We're going to go back on defense next time. So let's go for, you know, a huge all-out play here, find a victory, and if not, hey, we got our defense the next time. Like that's my mentality. But seeing what has happened because of that this season, I'm like starting to question that. Like, yeah, well, you lose one now, Googlybobbers have 2, and then let's say you just lose defense, and now they're on defense and they get their 4-4 and they're tying it up. So, you know, is that overthinking it too much, or is that something that you would do for Aquatic M60s as a team?
I have 2 answers to that. One, you thought about it enough to where I couldn't track what you were telling me anymore.
That happens.
And 2, you can't really overthink anything too much before you play a battle. While you're playing a battle, absolutely you can overthink.
Okay. Maybe, and also, and after, you think that applies? Too much nitpicking, too much, we could have done this, should have done this?
Sure, it depends. That's one of the more important parts of being a leader on a team is you really need to shape what that conversation looks like in order for it to be productive. You can think about it like any regular business meeting. If everybody comes in there and they just want to talk about what they want to talk about or what they think the problem is,
you never get done.
Whenever they feel like it, you never get anything done, and it's obnoxious for everybody there. But if you have somebody moderate, run everything, decide not necessarily who talks when, but what you're talking about and what the goals are, then you get some real productive stuff out of it.
And then you just go, all right, guys, great points. Thanks for bringing them up, but we will talk about, you know, I'm writing them down to remember, but we have this to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Be like, okay, we'll talk about that after this. Let's focus on this topic in particular. And you get some great stuff out of that as long as you manage it correctly. If you don't, well, I would hate to be in your meeting. That's all I can say.
Right now, Googlybobbers going very aggressive over the Northern Railroads, only leaving an RU-251 behind, taking some damage as they do it. 319, they're going to Zombie Food, dropping it below half. 7 Tesla taking a shot as well, but they have now made it over, and it is just Shapeshifter by himself over on this side of the railroads. Got to be careful holding him off. Let's see what Aquatic M60s does to respond to this. They are sending their members over to start supporting the Centurion AX. 687 going into nice focus fire coming up from Googlybobbers, but they have dealt and bled so much damage to get over here. Now Mr. Man takes down Zombie Food, and that is the first tank fallen for Googlybobbers. Viral takes down Shapeshifter, so a 1-for-1 exchange of 50-51 for Centurion AX. Morphic takes down Tuxzilla. That's a T-22 going. Mr. Man finds Destruction Ming, and it looks like this is going to be Aquatic M60s now tearing apart these remaining 3 members in the north, leaving just Urtai in the south. He's starting to support, though, taking some shots there in the RE-251 Zone Delta, finishing off Felix there. But Redux finishes off 7 Tesla. They have now gotten to the support behind the railroad tracks. The RE-251 can no longer fire from them. They have now free reign over Viral and Zone Delta here. Viral getting focused on Mr. Man going for the ram. 676 with the shot going into that T-22, and one more will finish it off. Let's see if they can take down Flesh. No, Flesh stays alive here as Veggie finds Viral. And ladies and gentlemen, the much needed victory from Aquatic M60s. Looks like they're going to find it here with their 5th one here on the steps. A fantastic job from this team tonight. Now looking better to make it into playoffs.
Absolutely. The way they've been playing so far lately, if they put in that amount of preparation, they can really kick it up a notch for the playoffs. Could be looking at them in the finals, but I don't know. There's a lot of teams that are starting to look a lot better near the end of the season.
Yeah.
And some of the higher teams are starting to look a little bit worse at the end of the season. So, you know, basically the same thing that always happens in WGLNA playoffs. Pure chaos.
Massive, no one knows what's going on. As Urtai now starts running from Veggie, coming on that T-22. There it is, a double tap from Mr. Man. Gonna finish him off. And Aquatics closing out the night with a clean 5-1 victory against Googlybobbers. Again, making it a lot easier for them to possibly make it to the playoffs. And again, then go into the finals February 27th in Vegas, guys. Las Vegas, that's right. I don't know if there is another Vegas. Just wanted to make that clear. So come and join us. It's going to be awesome. But enough about what's happening in the future. Anything, David, statistically that was pretty fun about that match we can check out?
Let's do it.
Let's check it out.
Over here for Zone Delta, 33-12 in his IS-7 and 2,000 blocked. Fantastic.
Wow.
Fantastic
Look
overall.
at that IS-7.
2,600 out of Viral. Nearly perfect penetration for him. Airtight squeezing in 1,700 damage. And nobody else really getting into word and edgewise. Not a great game for Googlybobbers. Essentially committing suicide over that northern rail.
Yeah.
Veggie with 2,800 in his T22. Mr. Man with 2,500 in his T22. 2,000 for Redux. 19, well, we'll give it to him. 2,000 for Flesh. 1,600 for Felix. And Shapeshifter and Morphic. Just trying to fight over what was left.
All right, well, congratulations to Aquatic M60s for their victory there, closing out our first match tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, do not go anywhere. Match number 2, Caller Wanted versus High Voltage, a match I'm very excited to see, is coming right up.